my dear students, how are you all? So here I am again with a very new chapter of your class 7th NCERT textbook, that is chapter number 16, Water, a Precious Resource. So can you tell me what does the name suggest? Right. So first we will see what does this topic meaning is. All right. So are we all ready? Right. So see, water, we all are familiar with this word, right? Water, pani, a precious resource. Now, what does this precious means? So, precious means that is valuable और priceless, जिसका कोई मोल नहीं, but value है, right? And a resource. So, resource means anything which is feasible to you, which is accessible to you and is able to fulfill what you wish and what you needs, right? So water is considered as a precious resource. We need water to fulfill our daily needs. So in NCERT textbook, there are various contents in which we are going to learn this chapter. NCERT first define what is water, and then it also defines what are the various physical properties of water. And then further, we will see where is water present on earth, and apart from earth, where does it present? And then the question arises, is the water which is present everywhere is useful for the human beings? Can we drink it? Or is it fresh for us to use? Or is it salty? Right? So depend on this, we can divide the water into various sources. And then we will learn about the precious cycle, which is water cycle. And then due to the water scarcity, what we humans or the government policies are doing to manage the water. So we will learn certain water management system. And then at the end, we are going to see certain NCERT textbook exercise with the solutions. Okay. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay. All right. So first thing first, what is water? Water in science states as, or we can write water as H2O. I know we are all familiar with this H2O. But what does this H2O means? H2O as a whole is considered as a molecule. Now what is molecule? When we will learn certain things in chemistry, we have learned certain elements, right? So hydrogen and oxygen both are elements, right? Hydrogen and oxygen are elements. And we write these elements in particular symbols, like for hydrogen we use H and for oxygen we use O. So basically these elements are made up of two atoms. In water case, these atoms are hydrogen and oxygen. Further we will see that hydrogen is 2, oxygen is 1, which makes up the molecule, because we already know that the atoms will combine to form the molecule. So in the water case, the two atoms are hydrogen and oxygen, where 2 atoms of hydrogen is being used and 1 atom of oxygen is being used. When they combine, they form molecule, water molecule, that is H2O. Alright, so water is made up of oxygen and hydrogen. There is 1 oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen atoms in a molecule of water. Alright. Now, see, water, we have already studied that there are 3 states of matter: solid, liquid and gases. So how does the water is being seen as? Is it a solid, liquid or gas? Yes, physically we can see water as it is present in the form of liquid, right? In the seas, in the ocean, lakes, rivers, or the water we drink is in the solid form. But have you ever eaten the water? Yes, you might have eaten it in the form of ice. So ice is the solid form of water. Gas. Have you seen water in the form of gas? You might have seen in the form of vapors or in the form of steam All this are the form of liquid in the form of gas. So solid water is ice, gaseous water is water vapor, which is in the air around us. Water is present as solid, liquid and gas on the earth. Alright, this is the first physical property of the water. Now, we will see the next physical property of water. Alright, before that, I am going to tell you the physical properties in between the topic itself, but there is one more topic we need to cover is water, presence of water on earth. As I have already told you that we are going to discuss where does the water is present. Is it present all over the earth? Yes, it is present all around the earth, and 70% of the earth is covered with water. This includes various sources of water such as oceans, rivers, lakes and glaciers. Does our body also consist of water? What do you think? Yes, there is water present inside the human bodies itself, inside the living things. Water is vital to plant and animal. Without water, life could not exist. That is why we need water. And apart from it, we need water, but there is plenty of water already present inside the water, inside our bodies, inside the living things. So 60% of the human body is water. We need water to dissolve the nutrients in our blood, protect important structures and maintain the body temperature. When you try to eat the food, it digests because of water. We are able to swallow it because of water, because there is a saliva which is also a kind of liquid, right? So 60% of our human body is made up of water. And apart from the fact, we need water as well. Then, so plants are also considered as living things. Plants photosynthesize in the presence of sunlight to make the energy they need to live and grow. Apart from sunlight, we already know that plants need, what does the plants need? Sunlight, air and water. These basic needs are required for the plants to produce its food by the process of photosynthesis, right? So in this way, various living things, plants, animals, humans, they all need water, because water ultimately exists life. There is a survival because of water. Earth is known as the blue planet because 70% of the earth is covered with water, right? And this water is required by the every living things, right? So there are certain special features of this water. We are going to see it, right? We have already learned that water exists in solid, liquid and gas. But there is one more feature. As I have already told you that I am going to tell the properties of water one by one in between the chapter. So there is a second property. Water has the highest surface tension. Highest surface tension. Now please focus to the word surface tension. What does it mean? So at low temperatures, ice can float on water. Some very light insects can walk on water. This is because water has high surface tension. Now you know, see, water, when we see the body or the source of water, we can see like we already have sea. We are familiar to the sea, right? SEA. Yeah. So here the water is present like a huge blanket of water. Yeah. When we see on the upper side of the sea, it's a huge blanket of water, right? And why we are calling it as huge blanket? Do you know why? Because you know water molecules are strongly packed with each other. They are packed with each other very strongly. Okay, their molecules. So, but they need to exist on that area as well. So what do you think? How come water is going to exist in the full surface area? The molecules are high, they have a strong attraction between them. They need to exist together in a very close contact, right? Now, there is one more question. Why always we make water droplet in spherical form, as you can see on the screen? Why don't we make the water droplet in a square form or maybe in the rectangle form? Why the nature choose this spherical form of water? Do you know why? See, surface tension of water, highest surface tension, because surface tension means that the membrane which is formed, which refuse to crash, they need to exist in a very scattered form, and the water has the highest surface tension with the molecules attracted together very closely. So what do you think, in a huge surface area of water, how does the water is going to exist? And how much water molecule will take more space or lesser space to exist? Because you know, very numerous amount of molecules are going to exist on the surface area. So they are not going to exist in the square form or in the rectangle form, because it will require more space, right? So the nature take the water in the form of spherical form, okay, because it will apply less space and more water molecules can exist on this highest surface tension. That is why the nature opt for spherical form of water droplet. All right. So because of this, since water has a higher surface tension, all the light insects or flies can just walk over the surface of water. All right, because they do not sink. Otherwise the heavy bodies do sink, right? The ships sink inside the water because it is heavy from the surface tension of water, but the light insects just walk away on the water. All right, so by this property we can solve out two problems, or we can solve out two questions, as why the water has the spherical droplet and it doesn't come in the circular one, the square or the rectangle one. It always comes in spherical form. Why? The reason I have given already. And the second one, why all the light insects or flies just walk away on the surface of water? Why don't they sink? All right, because the water has the highest surface tension. Okay, highest surface area. All right. Now we are going to see certain key properties which are apart from that the water exists in solid, liquid and gas. Water has a higher surface tension, and one more property is water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and it freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. All right, so these are certain main properties of water. That water, apart from liquid, we see that water just present or present in the form of liquid, but apart from it, it is present in the form of solid as well, like ice, and also present in the form of gas, which is steam or vapor. And then we have studied about the highest surface tension of the water, and then we have studied about that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and it freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. All right. All right, students. So now we are going to learn about different sources of water. Okay. So number one, first source of water is huge source of water. You know, it is ocean. Okay. Now ocean has a salt water or the fresh water. Can we consume ocean water for our day-to-day needs? No, we can't, because the ocean have the salt water. It is not the fresh water. All right, the water is salty. So it's the greatest body and it is usually found between the continents. Now the sea. Sea is the salty or the fresh water. It is also salty. Okay, so all the beaches and these are all salty. A sea is a large body of salt water that is connected to the ocean. Seas usually have land on several sides, like the beaches. Now, the lake. Lake is fresh water or salty water? Yes, it's a fresh water that is surrounded by land. It is very important source of fresh water. Then there is a pond. Pond is a small shallow body of standing water, typically smaller than a lake. Ponds are homes to various plants and animals, including fish, amphibians, insects and birds. We can make use of pond water. Okay. Then there is a river. River is a kind of stream of fresh water that flows through a channel on the ground. Like this, okay? Waterfall. Waterfall is also a fresh water body, okay? And that originate from the high place like mountains or the hills. Underground or groundwater. Underground water refers to the water that is found beneath the earth's surface. We make use of underground water very huge amount, okay? It is significant source of fresh water for drinking, irrigation and industrial use. All right. So there are some, apart from these seas, oceans, lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, there are more local water bodies or water sources that are reservoir. Reservoir is just a huge, you can say the collection of water. Okay, it's artificial lake created behind a dam and function as water storage. So we can store the water from here. So if the dam is being created, the reservoir is also being created so that we can store the water there. Then there are the groundwater. We have already studied the water which is present beneath the earth's surface. Now, there is one most important topic from this chapter, that is water cycle. Now imagine, if there is not a continuous chain of cycle, how come the water is going to be taken from the underground, then how come the rainfall will occurs and how these oceans get filled up? Have you ever wondered why? So the answer is water cycle, the major cycle which if we talk about water and we don't talk about water cycle, it's a very huge absence we are making of in the content, right? So water cycle plays a huge role in water chapter. So the water cycle is a fascinating process that keeps the earth's water supply constantly moving and changing. All right. So as the rainfall occurs, the oceans get filled up and oceans get connected with the seas, and then seas will form the lakes, the rivers, and what else? Every source of water needs water, and this water is coming from the rainfall. And rainfall is due to the formation of clouds. And how does the clouds is being formed? And the reason is water cycle. So come, let's learn about the water cycle. What is behind the water cycle? Okay, how does the cycle runs? So first, basically you need to learn that water cycle is the continuous flow of water. All right, is a journey that water takes around the earth. Let's learn about the different stages of the water cycle. So this is the water cycle. Many a times in your exams, the questionnaire, in the question, it has been asked, what is water cycle? Draw it, label it, and explain the water cycle. So this is the diagram you can choose or you can select. It's a very easy diagram so that you can make it up and you can explain the water cycle. So now we are going to study about the water cycle. So basically for the water cycle, there needed to be water body. Water body should be there if you are making the diagram. Okay. So water body, you can make the water body. We can take ocean, and now the sun is always there, you know. Sun is the ultimate source of energy, right? So sun is that biotic component which is naturally universally present everywhere, right? So ocean and the salt, sun is there. So now what happens, you know, the sun is going to heat up or warm up the ocean water. Yes, of course, the surface water of the ocean, only the topmost layer is going to be warm up. Now this water is going to change into vapors, or I have already told you the gas, right? You cannot see these gas, but these vapors are being formed. So these vapors are coming from the ocean. These are the signs of vapors. And now these vapors will condense up. Okay, first thing first, sun will warm up the ocean water through a process which is known as evaporation. Okay, and now evaporation occurs and the water changes into vapors. Here the ocean water is being changed into vapors through the process which is known as evaporation. Please learn this process when you learn the water cycle. You know, these processes are also important when you learn about the water cycle. Apart from water cycle, the question in your questions, they might ask you, what do you mean by evaporation, condensation, or they might ask you, how does which process is being used to change the water into vapor? So answer is evaporation. Water into vapors is due to evaporation. And then when the once these vapors are raised up, okay, they get up in the sky, then these vapors got condensed, get condensed, and they will form the clouds. Okay, vapors will form the clouds, so that is known as condensation. Okay, now means more vapors get accumulated vapors are what? These are gas, all right. So all these gases particles just connecting together, accumulated together, collectively form clouds due to the process known as condensation. Now when these clouds just get bulky, okay, due to so much vapors inside them, right, there are so much vapors inside them, so they get heavy, right, the clouds get heavy. Now when the clouds get heavy, they need to get lighter by giving out what? Rain. You can see here, rain. Okay, you can see wind is also important to scatter up the clouds here and there. And then rain in the form of precipitation. Why it's said precipitation? Because you already know that in every areas the rain doesn't occur. Rain can be form of snowfall, when you go up to the Himachal or Himalayas, when there is extreme rainfall or when the temperature is low, the rain turn into snowfall. Okay, or there must be some the thunderstorms, there will be, or so all these are the form of rain, so we call it as precipitation. Precipitation means rain, snowfalls, all these are precipitation, the form of rain only. Now, percolation means when the water is being seeped again inside the earth's surface. Alright. Now, it will change into groundwater. Alright. And then from the ground, it comes to the rivers, right, or the valleys. In between the valleys, there must be streams or rivers, or it get connected with the lakes or ponds. And then these water get connected ultimately to the ocean. So, this cycle is going to be again and again, work again. It is working, it's a kind of channel, or it's a kind of cycle which is going to manage the water, so that water again come back to the ocean, and the ocean will again form the clouds, and then the rain will occur. So water cycle is a very major reason that we can see the rainfall. Now the question arises, can only the vapors will be formed from the ocean only, or we need a water body to form the water cycle? So the answer is yes, absolutely. We need an ocean or we need a water body. But these green plants also helps for the presence of rainfall. Now how? We already know that these leaves are very utmost precious part of the plants. For what? Because they prepare food, right? Yes, they do prepare the food, but also they help in making, or they used to call the rain in the nature. How? So it is already said that plant more and more trees if you want the rain in your area or in your city. Why is it so? Because as we sweat, our human body sweat, trees also sweat, plants also sweat. They take in the water from the roots, but excess of water they lose up from the leaves, and these waters comes on the surface of the leaves. And now this sun will heat up these water, and these water droplets will go up in the air in the form of vapors, right? And then again these vapors will form the clouds, and clouds get heavy up with the rain, with the water, and then they will give out the rainfall. So in this way, this process is known as, where the water vapors are coming from the leaves, this process is known as transpiration. So transpiration is nothing but the process in which the leaves are going to exit out the excess of water. Like our human body sweats, but the leaves transpire. So there are various processes which forms the water cycle, and transpiration is also one of them. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation, transpiration, all these comes under water cycle. Generally in the questions they can ask you about the water cycle, but also they can ask you separately about these processes. And they can also ask you how come the water changes into vapor, which process, and how does a vapor changes into gas, or vapors forms the clouds, by which process, how does the rain occurs. All these questions can come in the puzzle form. So it is very important to learn about the different processes. All right. So this was all about the water cycle. So water cycle is the continuous management of water which is coming from the ocean then into clouds. Then clouds will give out the rainfall. Okay. So it's a continuous chain or the cycle of water. That is why it is known as water cycle. So now evaporation, we already know the water when changing to vapors. Condensation, when the water vapor or get arises into the sky, it cools down. Okay. And then these water droplets, collection of these water droplets will form the clouds. This is known as condensation. Now precipitation. So these are the various forms of rain. Either the rain will occur, snow will come, sleet or hails. Hails, small. In our area, it's called as ole, means the small droplets of ice coming from the sky. So in various cities, where the temperature is very low, the rain will not come in the form of liquid. They might change into snow or hails or sleet. Okay, so all this in the form of rain is known as precipitation. Okay. Now collection. Now we have already seen then when the rainfall occurs, then water is going to be collected. All right. So it get collected again inside the rivers, oceans, or various sources of water. Right. So some of the water soaks into the ground and becomes the groundwater. Now regarding the groundwater, there are certain terms which are present in your NCERT and they are very important for your syllabus also. So let's learn it. So as we already discussed that groundwater is the water which is present beneath the earth's surface. Now how come the groundwater occurs or is being formed? So groundwater is the water that is found beneath the earth's surface. It comes from rain and other precipitation that soaks into the ground. Okay. So we will explain some important terms regarding the groundwater. All right. So first is water table. What is water table? So water table is kind of, you can say, the water scale. Okay. So it's the upper level of the underground surface, whereas the ground is fully saturated with water. It is like a boundary between the area where the ground is filled with water and above which that not. Okay. So it's a scale where up to which extent the water is present inside the ground. Okay. Or on the earth. And then there is infiltration. So what do you mean by infiltration? Infiltration is a process by which the water from rain or other sources soaks up. So it's kind of soaking up of rainwater inside the underground water or the earth. When earth soaks up the water or take in the water, that is known as infiltration. So there is one more term, that is aquifer. The water which is being soaked up by the ground is moving through the rocks, right, or on the soil. So the rocks and soil is actually holding up the water present inside the underground. That is known as underground water. So when these rocks or soil holds up the water, that's water we are going to use. Okay, in the when we used to have hand pumps or take the groundwater or submersible, right? Motors are being present inside the homes. So what we are doing with this? We are making the groundwater feasible to us for our day-to-day needs. And this groundwater is being holded by these rocks and soil. So this holding up of water is known as aquifer. Okay, aquifer. All right.